Hello, my beautiful friends. If you're unaware of how the music industry negatively affects, influences artists and negatively affects and influences the listeners or society or even the planet, if it's a song that's being played worldwide, you need to know that there are dark wizards on our planet, and their goal is to try to get dark energies, entities, influences, thoughts, emotions into our being. And basic rule of dark magic is get the person to do it themselves, right? So if I go back in the days and bought a CD and brought it back home, I those music industry people could have a demonic entity attached to that CD. So there are dark wizards that get into music not because they love music, because this is the easiest way to do their dark wizardry stuff, because we listen to it and we allow that demonic frequency in through the ear, through our listening. So one of the benefits of not buying CDs anymore is now the you're not bringing the CD home, but almost everyone right now has got earphones and music. And so, as long as the music industry that is falling apart right now, um, but as long as they put demonic frequencies into the music, then we're letting it in. So, I want to share with you guys this documentary. Check it out.
It was a great thing to have talent. It is almost inevitable that your talent absolutely means nothing. You see, talent was all you needed at one given time before man put his spell on a thing called entertainment. Nowadays, it's a bit demonic. Well, the word entertainment itself is demonic. Let me explain this marriage that is proposed to you. But don't think it's about a woman. It's about a soul for sale. Yes, that's right.
So in hip hop, they say this a lot. They say I'm married to the game. Um, I'm married to the game. A lot of rappers say I sold my soul. Kanye said it, Eminem said it, Tupac said it. Even the ones that we think are good, DMX said it. They sold themselves to the devil. Snoop Dogg said it in a song called "Murder Was the Case." And I feel like there's different types of people who sell their soul. Snoop Dogg sold his soul, and he's still a brand that is huge, whether he's the real person or not. We'll get into clone theory later. And then sometimes, if you're using your platform to speak truth, uh, then that's a no-no, and they'll either kill you or they will clone you and replace you. So that's a whole other video for a whole other time. But there are some celebrities that are not the real person, such as Kevin Hart, such as Eminem, such as uh, Dave Chappelle, and I'm even starting to wonder now Cat Williams. But yeah, married to the game, right? It's a marriage between the artist and a demonic energy.
Because your soul is married to the game. The game is the music business, entertainment, sports, whatever. See, they're going to shake your hand. But what you don't understand is you're being welcomed to fame and lies. And there's always a guy in a nice suit to come around as clean shaved and tell you the do's and don'ts just to see where your head's at. And he's going to advise you of a letter that will be arriving, but he probably want to hand it to you because it's personal. Why is it personal? Because the letter is going to be an opportunity for you, but it's not any kind of letter or contract. It's a contract of blood offering. That's right. They want you to sign your name in blood because you have been chosen by the brotherhood. And without hesitation, you sign. And you're so ecstatic. Your name is all over MTV, BET. You're excited. But you're not done. Because see, after that, they're going to invite you to the lodge. And during the lodge presentation, they're going to tell you the do's and don'ts. They're going to tell you to keep your mouth shut. And if you should adhere to this and tell anyone the secrets, your tongue could be removed, your eyes could be gouged, or your neck could be slit.
So whenever you guys see the artist doing this, right, hand over mouth or finger over mouth, that's like, I'm going to keep these secrets of the music industry. I won't tell.
So, what do? You leave out of that with a bonus check. But to remind you, as you walking out the door, beware, all ye who enters.
Put your hands together. I am not changed at all. My goods to feed the poor, though I give my body to be burned, and have not charity. When I was a child, I spent as a child. I understood as a child, and thought as a child. But when I became a man, I threw away childish things. For now we see through a glass, darkly, but then face to face. Now I know in my heart, but then shall I know, even so also I am known. And now I deny faith, hope, charity, these three, but the greatest of all these is charity. To Yahweh.
Why? They're meaning to the person who's looking. Hush, never tell. Now, most people in the real world will never understand this. The red and blue eyes also go back to the satanic world of Satanism. We're not making these things up. We're just bringing them out. You see ads like this all the time with the one eye. And then you have females to put the hair in the eye, starting with Aaliyah. Well, they're explaining about the all-seeing eye. Goes back to Egyptology, gods, and Osiris's and Kabbalahs. You have no idea what you're doing, but you're mimicking something very satanic and evil. I don't know how many times when I was coming up, I saw a finger over the lips. I just thought that was being cute for be quiet. But in the world of entertainment, it means never tell the secrets. Now our black people have adopted these rituals because they want to be like their counterparts. Yes, I said counterparts because this was never for us. We was already upright, righteous folks. We led the way, but now we're slipped because we want to be a part of this world called America's, and we want to be rich. To be rich, you have to believe in a dream. And once they can get you believe in a dream, man, it's all downhill. The book of the Apocrypha tells us dreams are for fools. But you can't wait to stand in line for the American Idol, X Factor, America Has Talent. It's all just hoorah. You had no idea that it's about really satanicism, signing your name in blood. And for the women, they use you so bad, you have no idea what they're going to do to you once you get behind the scenes. Wow. There's usually about 4 different stages before you're getting signed. Now, this is a beautiful sister, right?
So this guy's an insider in the music industry. Didn't make it, but his name is I'll get his name at the end. But he's a religious Christian, and he is sharing his experience of being in the music industry back then.
This is how you look when you first get signed. You look ecstatic, refreshing. At about a year, you turn into this. Your face starts to change because your soul is being
A great movie that very artistically expresses how the music industry does exactly what it's talking about, taking someone innocent and naive and corrupting them, is the movie Black Swan. If you ever watch it, it's actually the perfect artistically um, created. Um, it's done very creatively, but even though it's about a woman who wants to be in the ballet, it's act and then they so if you really study that movie, it's actually the music industry, how the main guy, the bad guy creates. I'm getting so much buzzing in my ear. Creates how he takes this like it's not about that's why he's saying she was too white. He wants her to be more like the black swan. So the industry is not only about talent, it's also very much about how dark are you willing to be? How much of the dark energy are you going to allow yourself to possess you? Because once the demon possesses you, then that demon can become a superstar and you're in the background. And a lot of artists talk about that. Eminem says, people don't want Marshall no more. They want Shady on chopped liver. Beyonce's got Sasha Fierce. So if you watch that movie, you even see there's an older woman who got so corrupted. And that's kind of, if I was to watch that movie and connect it to what we're watching now, when you watch Black Swan, there's the older woman who Winona Ryder's character, she's like the equivalent of a Whitney Houston. Whitney Houston was mentored by Clive Davis, who we're going to get into. That's what this whole documentary is about, and how he corrupted her, how he corrupted P. Diddy. And it's like this ancient order that never went away. Are they, are these the children of the Nephilim that the Bible talks about? Are these the ones that are that brought black magic to planet Earth, or were they initiated back in the days in ancient Babylon? In these ancient rites, we got to remember what happened to all those people who used to practice dark magic back in the days. They didn't just disappear. You know, Egypt, ancient Egypt, a big part of you can't get ancient Egypt without understanding magic. They go hand in hand. So there are people in positions of power who have kept this knowledge alive and they practice it like a religion. And you will know them by their fruits or whatever the quote is, because look at P. Diddy. People are dying around him. People, you know, all these bad things are happening to the people around him. So there's still this religion, this dark religion still exists today, and most people are freaking worshiping the celebrities um, that are in these that are doing this. So step one is boycott all the celebrities that have sold out because they are now pawns of Satan. I don't like to use that word, but they're pawns of a dark force that doesn't care about us.
Sucked out of you. Now you don't notice this at all because you're trying to keep up with them. You think it's their fashion style, but really it's what they endure when they sign with the industry. As they go on, and 1 year becomes 2 and 3 becomes 4, their soul is totally gone. When they look in the mirror, they can see things you don't see. They see demons, like Whitney Houston saw demons. But to the public, they look like this. And you notice every year they look more deranged. They look more hard. They look more spaced out. Look at Nicki Minaj.
I think Whitney Houston was quoted saying she sees eyes on the walls and is just terrified of having mirrors in the home because then she'll see the demons reflected back in her. And another thing is love taking, um, they love partnering you up with someone. If you're a soul, they love partnering you up with someone who will corrupt you. So I believe that's the case with Whitney and Bobby. And then I think the same example would go for like a Kanye and a Kardashian. Guess which one was the more corruptible one? And sometimes it goes to the next level where one of them is a handler, meaning they have their partner under some kind of hypnosis, hypnotic control. Look at there's a famous video of Jay-Z and Beyonce on that.
It's her like a glove. You had no idea these transitions and what they're going through because they sold their soul. Who is this walking through the airport? None other than Prince Roger Nelson. Check out his earth sandals. My wife got the same pair. You can't tell me this man ain't a flaming sissy. Anyways, we need to explain why.
I mean, that to me is sexist, is derogatory, and it's uncalled for. You can say you believe the man is gay without insulting him and calling him sissy. He actually has bigger balls than any straight male in the music industry. It was him and Michael Jackson, both Moon Pisces, by the way. It was him and Michael Jackson who stood against the music industry. Prince was telling a lot of people to own their masters back then. So he was ahead of the game. He has, yeah, so I just don't agree with that statement. Christians got to get over the fact, Christians got to stop judging gay people. And, you know, it needs to go. It's so outdated.
This man is doing a lot of tours overseas. You see, the truth of the matter is, there's a lot of righteous folks overseas. And in this tour, he's trying to hoodwink you. We'll explain. Well, when he goes overseas to tour, he brings the all-seeing eye. And what most folks don't understand, those lines that you see in the seeing eye, the subliminal, they put you in spells. You ever came out of a concert and felt high and kind of have lightheaded? Well, you've been on subliminal because the average person knows nothing about righteousness and they have no idea about the scriptures. So when you are empty and have no light, it's easy.
Yeah, I don't know this about Prince for sure. This is what this guy is saying, and I'm open to the possibility. And it's tricky because things aren't black and white. There's a lot of gray because you see these artists fighting against the music industry, yet are they? There was a guy who was in the music industry. I think his name was John Todd or something. He said nowadays you can't be in the music industry unless you're a warlock or a witch. So they're either initiating you into that world or you come into it knowing that. So I don't know. I know he's very spiritual and but he's supposedly a devout Jehovah's Witness, but who knows? Who knows? But all I know is that he was talking about chemtrails. He was talking about chemtrails very shortly after he talked about chemtrails on live TV and how it impacts the people and they all kind of get crazy and start fighting each other when chemtrails happen. He died after them.
For spirits to take you over. Prince is a demonic Jehovah devil set up by design. Nor did he accept the oath. Jimmy Jester was a man who loved to play music. He signed with anybody who had a contract, something that his manager hated about him. and his manager also had him executed. You see, Jimmy did not accept the powers that be, so they put a tube down his throat and forced alcohol into his system, causing alcohol poisoning, making it look like he gurgitated off his own vomit when they killed him because he wouldn't accept the brotherhood. Laid his body on his side and put a bottle of wine next to it and said, well, he did it to himself. Some of his closest mentor who came to the funeral, as Miles Davis, knew the truth. Janis Joplin also knew the truth too. She also paid for her life because she was getting ready to expose why Jimmy was killed. So they took her life. We'll explain her clip as it's coming up. You notice how they're carrying Jimmy's coffin, or should we say casket, because Jimmy wasn't part of the brotherhood. We're also going to explain as the film rolls, there's a different level of sacrifice. Whenever you see a casket on the shoulders of men who's carrying you out, you will sacrifice to the brotherhood. We'll explain that as the film continues. Jimi Hendrix was a brother who just loved playing music. That was it. They killed him because he wouldn't accept the oath or the traditions of the brotherhood. And that's just the honest God truth. Jimi Hendrix was a brother who never accepted Satan's world.
Well, it's good to know. It's good to know that not everyone sold out. And it's good to know that there are some people who actually took a stand. The only problem with that is they don't last long. They get compromised. Trying to see the part two of oh wow, there's so many parts. Here we go. Get some popcorn, guys. It's gonna be a long movie.
That Jimmy did not take his own life as far as choking on vomit after drinking. She knew that Jimmy was alcohol poisoned by his former manager, who did not like Jimmy because Jimmy had a bad habit of signing with anyone with a recording label, and he did not accept the oath. Janis was talking about this among fellow musicians, whom she could not express enough to. Meanwhile, they would go behind her back and tell Jimi Hendrix's former manager what Janis was talking about. So Janis was getting prepared in 1970 for a concert in a hotel. As they went to check on her, the goons have already been in her room and gave her an overdose of heroin. Janis Joplin was getting ready to blow the whistle on Jimi Hendrix's death, and they could not have that, so they killed her.
That's so sad. So sad. So sad because musicians are like the prophets of our time, especially in that era. You're coming in with that 60s consciousness, which was like waking up the planet, right? Elevating our minds, like just what finding out the boundaries are, knowing who God is. Like it's such a shift in our history. It's such a pivotal moment. And people like Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin were like, the Jesus and Mary Magdalene of that time, like part of that movement, you know? Not to me, but for some people, that's what they represented. That
His body out the water, as you see here. Otis was beaten to death because he and James Brown was getting ready to orchestrate a distribution deal for black music. It's the same thing Damon Dash.
So Otis Redding, same thing. Very sad. Very sad. Such a soulful singer, and music he created that united his people and gave them hope and inspiration. Got killed. So it's like there's this music mafia is a music industry mafia, whether it was Italian or other races, or mixture, but definitely, uh, you know, a lot of Jews are in the industry, and there was a lot of mafia influence in the music industry as well, like Italian mobs. So there is a mafia, they run shit. And when these guys at that age, like at that time, were revolutionary enough to go black empowerment, let's cut out the middleman, let's create our own distribution channels. Now you're infringing on, someone else's business, and these guys are cutthroat. Uh, they're the real gangsters, really. Uh, and they eliminate anyone trying to mess with their money. Uh, and they say America is supposedly like a monopoly. That's, you know what I mean? Like if these guys are so ruthless in business that they would do anything that gets in the way of their business. But stay tuned, because this same thing that Otis Redding was trying to do with James Brown, the distribution, similar thing happened. Very funny how history repeats itself, because Suge Knight, who started Death Row Records, one of the, I think, the most profitable independent record company of all time. It may be that, because it was very different than the music industry, where it's like a few conglomerate of companies. Um, Whereas Death Row Records, founded by Suge Knight, was like independent, ground up, David versus Goliath kind of way of doing music. So, I think Suge Knight is still in prison right now. And he was the guy who was with Tupac supposedly when Tupac got murdered and gunned down in his car shot. Um, Suge Knight was with him, for those of you that don't know. And Suge Knight, Irv Gotti, who started Murder Inc., again, got a loan from someone in the music industry for him to start his own label, Murder Inc. It was him, Ja Rule, Ashanti, and they took the music industry. Like they took over the industry. Fucking amazing. Like amazing that this one guy from New York could start something alongside the music industry and blow up, like just explode all over the world, and be the most profitable uh, artists in the music industry. They were just dominating at that time, 2000s, I think. So Irv Gotti, we talked about, Suge Knight goes to jail, loses Death Row. Someone else ends up taking control of Death Row. Irv Gotti, they sent him to prison under false assumptions of being connected to a gangster, uh, in that he grew up with. So they were friends, but the FBI was trying to say that Irv Gotti was laundering money for this gangster, which he doesn't even need to launder money because he was making so much money from music. So again, so they destroy. Somehow there's these, maybe the guys in the music industry are so gangster that they're actually, they have power to tell the FBI, we want you to shut down Death Row Records, arrest Suge Knight, we want you to shut down Murder Inc., and arrest Irv Gotti and his brother, under complete false, like they went to court, they spent a shitload of money, but they didn't get arrested. They didn't snitch on anyone, and they didn't get arrested because the cops were asking them to snitch on his gangster friend that he grew up with, that they were lying that he was in connection with, that he was connected to that guy. They were friends, but he never accepted drug money for any of his projects. um, which in itself, there's like a hypocrisy in America. Who gets to do that? Because there are institutions that get to do that, and then, but then they, they don't want anyone else to do that. Anyways, that's another thing. And then the third person was another powerhouse in the South from Houston, I think. And uh, I'm blanking on his name now, but legend in hip hop, early mindset of independence, started a label. I think he's the guy who started was it Cash Money record company? I'm forgetting his name, but he's another legend. And same thing, they harass him and uh, try to like arrest him and falsely imprison him, and he didn't back down. And I think he might have, not sure if he ended up in prison or not, but I have to remember his name and give you guys. Yeah, the founder of Cash Money. Yes, I believe. Yes, he is the founder of Cash Money, which is again super success story, independent, black owned, and um, the numbers they were doing with their artists. Nicki Minaj is under that umbrella, and she's just the latest one. And I think before her was Lil Wayne. So yeah, those guys really took over.
Did with Suge.
So similar to this story, they were trying to do something similar all those years later, right? And same thing happened to them, except they didn't get killed.
And they took the riches. Well, back in those days, this thing was unheard of, and still today. So they killed him. They beat him. Now you're probably asking yourself, why not James Brown too? Because they felt like James Brown would be more profitable. So they made James a deal. James accepted the oath. Otis Reddy was a big man, so they couldn't come to him by themselves. They came with a few people. They caught him off guard, they beat him to death, and threw him in the pier. James Brown lay motionless into the funeral because James knew why they took his friend's life. When they made James a deal, he did not back down, nor did he think about doing a distribution deal ever again. James took the oath, and he signed with the Brotherhood.
It's so funny. I was just doing a YouTube, I was doing some social media. I recorded a video earlier for social media. And in the video, I was talking out of nowhere. I just started laughing because I remember this this animated series called Black Dynamite that's based on the movie Black Dynamite, which is like an old black movie from the 70s, I believe. And the animated series is so hilarious. And they have an episode that's talking exactly about all of this. They talk about the connection of the mafia and James Brown. James Brown is in that series. So if you guys ever get to watch it, it's called maybe you can find it on YouTube. It's called Black Dynamite, and it's the animated series, not the movie, not the film, but it's an animation. And if you type Black Dynamite music or uh, James Brown, it should pop up.
Blood, that is. Meanwhile, Otis had his funeral, and you notice they're carrying his casket by the waist, indicating that he was not of Brotherhood, nor did he sign his name in blood, nor was his life a sacrifice for anyone in the industry. But James Brown signed over his life to fulfill the legacy of the Brotherhood.
Ooh, did you guys hear that? So earlier I was like, so if he sold out to the Brotherhood, that means whether it's Freemason or something other kind of secret society, music industry society, secret society, then once you're in that Brotherhood, first of all, you become friends with everyone else who's in the Brotherhood, who are other sold out celebrities. Um, and then you all work for the common good of the secret society, which isn't the highest good for the city or the country. It's for the highest good of this handful of people in secret societies who have their own agenda, worship their own God, and have their own initiations, you know? Um, yeah, so interesting that James Brown was used to kind of sedate black people when things were getting heated up. Wow, guys, so much to unpack. So, you may have seen Andrew Tate recently, if you're following that whole thing, but he has a famous picture where he's getting arrested somewhere in Europe, and he's doing a hand gesture with his hands very clearly, and it's the same hand gesture that tons of people in this secret society do, which looks like you're doing a triangle with your fingers and with your hand. Um, and and so in this case, yeah, you can kind of see there's a little pyramid the way his hands are. And these guys in these secret societies, everything is symbolic for them, whether they say numbers, right? So when um, the pandemic happened in the news, they would say 33 people, 33, blah, 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 33 is code for Freemasons. So it's like basically saying, hey, to all the Freemasons out there, this pandemic is a pandemic. Like we're behind it. Like in a way, it's like some kind of like it's planned. Yeah, they're basically saying, don't freak out. This is part of our plan. So they do it through codes, through numbers, and they do it through symbols. And this guy is based, and how evil is that? That someone who in Black America is the person who is more on the political side, and how he's a sellout, and how beautiful was it that James Brown and Michael Jackson both sold out. Uh, I believe Michael Jackson's parents sold him out. I don't know how that works. It's like a transference of some. It's probably some like black magic slave contract, like they were talking about earlier. And it's like you can sell your kids out, which is fucking weird because apparently that's how Michael Jackson got into it, is his parents sold him out when he was young. You can find pictures when MJ was a kid and he's got the one hand over the eye, which is a Freemasonic symbol. So, and there's two levels, and at least I would summarize it and say there's two levels of sellout. You can sell out simply to the Freemasonic order, or you can sell out to the Freemasonic order, and there's this like next level where you become like billionaire status, high level celebrity, and that's more of a it's like a satanic order, like a new world order, but it's got yeah like some kind of Illuminati quote unquote club, um, and for that club you're rubbing shoulders with the world's greatest elites. You're all in on the tricks that they're playing on us, and you get with the program. But you're at a high level. And Kanye West is a perfect example. I don't know how exactly he consented to sacrificing his mom, but after he sold out to that next level that I just spoke about, like to become billionaire status, it requires a sacrifice of a soul. So interesting how MJ and um, James Brown, who MJ says like he emulated her growing up. It's like mentor and mentee. And then another way of looking at the continuation of that, I would say, would be MJ and then Kanye West, because they're all in the industry. I believe Kanye. I don't know how they tricked Kanye into like going to that next level, but he did say, he was connected to the sacrifice, unfortunately, of his mom. I don't think he knew that that's what was going to happen, but he just knew he was selling his soul. And when and he doesn't know what the repercussions of that mean. So that's really fucked up. But that's how it works. And how they were both in, like they had sold out, but they still wanted out. They wanted to do good by the people, even though they were in this like gang. So that's interesting how they have Clive Davis be the kind of the music godfather for black musicians, for black music, sorry. And a similar example of that, history repeating itself, would be um, one of the head guys of Def Jam, biggest hip hop record label, one of the best to ever do it and turn it into such a using marketing to take this rap music to a whole another level, uh, and make it the number one genre that it is today, and make it a multi-billion-dollar industry. Um, you can't say that that would have been possible without Def Jam Records. And Def Jam Records at one point was the head of like the rap music was Leor Cohen. Leor Cohen, who Dame Dash, another person, which would be great to learn his story because he also made history by being the manager of Jay-Z and getting an independent deal where they weren't getting a sucker deal that most artists were getting in the music industry because they came in as there's a manager, owner, investor, marketer, a whole team behind this one artist without the record company's help. Uh, um, so yeah, Leor Cohen is the version um, of this guy, Clive Davis, for the rap music, which is interesting. Why do they put these particular people in charge of black music? That makes no sense. All it should be a black person at the top of that. So that's very, uh, very suspicious. So one of the most popular examples for this era would be Kanye West sold out, but was getting very tired of the bullshit, and then would have his rants on stage, and he would just have these moments of just remembering his spiritual power. At least that's the way I'm perceiving it at that point in time. He's just speaking truth. He's breaking out of the simulation. Is not fearing death. Is maybe in that spiritual warrior archetype. Potentially, I'd like to believe there was some good in that, and it wasn't all an act. Uh, and because there are a lot of celebrities that you think everything they're doing is genuine, but it's all part of an act. Like once you're in the Freemasons, you're like the director of what people see, but it's not the truth of what's actually happening. It's like two levels of reality. It's like, yeah, it's just a whole different dimension of living life where you know the truths about things, and everyone else is looking at things, believing everything is real, but it's a freaking wrestling game. It's all scripted and acted, whether you're looking at politics or even boxing or even things that appear to be real with celebrities, getting into fights or whatever. The whole Johnny Depp and his ex thing, like, for all we know, these are all just acts. It's all acts and distractions. Okie dokie. Should we keep going? Should we keep it flowing? God, that's so gross. Okay, that was number two. Part three.